we have some exciting news today.
Which you saw in the title already.
We are engaged.
I don't have one, so I'm not, but she is.
Yes, I am, and I am engaged all by myself. Yes, we've been engaged for, I guess, over a month now.
Yeah, just over a month.
October 9th, Nick proposed to me, and I obviously said yes. So we're really excited because obviously this is a new chapter for us, and yeah. For anyone who knows.
Our friends know. Followers you might not know. We make a lot of Cambodia videos.
Yeah, we make a lot of Cambodia videos, but recently we've been living just outside of Kelowna, which is a city in Canada in BC, and we were living in a small town called Lumbee, British Columbia. And of course we bought our ambulance and we started on that project, but winter is coming and we cannot work on the ambulance throughout the winter because we do not have an indoor space to do it. So we still have the ambulance, but it's been put on hold for now. And then life threw us a curveball, or I guess it threw me a curveball. You knew about it. But Nick proposed to me in October. So we've actually been doing a lot of wedding planning and securing dates and venues and all that kind of stuff. But we have other exciting news. And we actually moved to the other side of Canada and we're living just outside of Hamilton, Ontario now.
We just kind of decided on a bit of a whim to just move across the country. It's just kind of expensive to live in BC, so we figured come over here for now, where it's a little bit easier to live, a little bit cheaper, and save some money, and then hopefully in like 6 months, maybe go back and finish off the ambulance. Maybe, I mean, if we like it, like everything's kind of up in the air, so if we like it, then maybe we'll bring the ambulance over here and work on it from here. We're not sure yet, everything's kind of up in the air, but that's how we've kind of been living our lives since we left for Cambodia, so it's kind of how we like it.
But although we don't really know what the next steps are, what we do know right now is that we are living in Ontario. We had quite a bit of stuff and we wanted to take it with us, of course. We actually drove from Vancouver to Lumbee and then all the way to Ontario here, and we took some footage, so we're going to share it with you guys here and kind of talk about the engagement and our trip across Canada. So before we left to move to the other side of the country, we of course wanted to see our friends and family and say goodbye for now. And my mom was so sweet and threw me a surprise bridal shower, engagement party sort of thing, just with the women in my family.
And me.
Yes, Nick showed up at the end and they serenaded us, and it was really, really cute. It was really kind and generous, so thank you, Mom.
Thanks, Mom.
She also rented us the guest suite in her place, so we just had like a really nice last weekend before we left for our road trip. And on the Monday, we left Vancouver pretty early and drove back to Lumbee, packed up our stuff, and started putting it into the car.
Then we started making our way to Alberta. We're going through Rogers Pass, through Glacier National Park. We're like 200 kilometers from Banff.
So we've been driving for the last like, God, 4 hours?
No. When did we get in the car? 10?
Yeah. And we have all our in the back. This was a very last minute decision and we kind of had to do it like right away because it is the beginning of November and Canada is about to get very, very snowy and even worse to drive in. So we kind of made this decision 2 weeks ago and Nick quit his job and now we're on our way. Where are we? I don't even know. We're in Field, BC.
Are you gonna jump in that nice cold pool?
No, are you?
The first stop that we made was going to be Calgary, but we decided instead that we were going to stop in Banff. So we stopped there, figured take advantage of the mountains and the nice scenery while we could before we started hitting the flatlands.
So yeah, in Banff, we went to the hot springs, which was Nick's idea, the upper hot springs, and then we stayed at the YWCA. So this whole trip we were on a super tight budget, but the YWCA was the first place that we stayed at on our whole trip, obviously, and it was actually like pretty great.
We're in a hotel in Banff, looking on Indeed for jobs, because who knows, maybe we'll stay here.
Just for fun.
Just for fun.
We don't know what's gonna happen, but we like Banff.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna go for some ramen. Good morning, Banff.
This is what I normally wear when I'm not in Cambodia. And then around, I think it was like 10 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock in the morning or something, we made our way to Regina.
And we found a dinosaur provincial park. Common misconception. Dinosaur Provincial Park is not the same museum with all the dinosaur sculptures in it. Not sculptures.
Fossils.
Fossils. Made, like, put together and then, like, made to look like dinosaurs. I thought I was gonna see some dinosaurs, but there is no dinosaurs. But apparently there are a lot of fossils inside of this park. But it was really beautiful to look at, and I think that we'll probably want to go back when it is warmer.
So just think, 100 years ago, this is what an outlaw might have been listening to on his horse with his AirPods. He'd be like, in 100 meters. We go, oh, we're gonna gain another hour here.
In Saskatchewan?
Yeah.
Really?
Let's see. Yeah. Yeah. We'll gain another hour.
Cool.
So.
Alright. A whole lot of nothing! Look, there's another house.
House and a shack.
There's one house and one train. Oh, the train looks pretty. I'll probably take a picture of that.
Thank you. A bit of a long drive, but we got there a little bit late. I think it was maybe, oh no, I guess it was dark, but it wasn't that late. I think it was maybe 7 o'clock. We were at a motel, so we had to lug all of our stuff that was in the back seat into the motel. Once we got settled, we found a little bar there, so we went to the bar, got a few drinks, and watched a hockey game.
Hello, Regina.
Authentic. What would it be? Reginese?
Saskatchewan.
Reginese? What would you call people from Regina? Reginers? Some
Maybe you can
authentic Reginer
ask.
food.
Maybe you can ask someone.
Some authentic Reginer food.
Reginese.
Reginese food.
We went back to bed, and then like the next morning we were going to leave super early, so we were trying to get to Ontario quickly, but we also didn't want to miss any like beautiful turnoffs or anything, so we were just playing it by ear. But that said, especially because it had just been daylight savings time, and this is the thing about traveling in the winter, is that you just don't have a lot of daylight, and in Canada we have a lot of wildlife. So you certainly don't want to hit a moose or any deer or anything while you're driving. So our plan every day was to leave as early as we could.
To make sure that we would be in our next destination before it was dark and we couldn't see anything on the highway. Which brings us to our next destination after Regina, Winnipeg, which was another fairly long drive. I think that one was, which was another fairly long drive, I think maybe around 8 hours. We made a few stops along the way, so when we were coming into Winnipeg for the last maybe hour or two of the trip, it was pretty dark. So it was a little hard to see, a little bit sketchy, and we wanted to make sure that we didn't make that mistake again. So
before we left too, we were looking at like, obviously accommodation, but we didn't know exactly what city we'd be staying in every night. So our goal was to make it to Winnipeg on this day, and we made it luckily, but we were booking all of our accommodation last minute. So we actually booked on booking.com, and we found a place that was like super cheap. It was like $30 a night or something to stay in someone's house, in like a room in their house. So yeah, we showed up at this person's house, and she said that she hadn't gotten the booking yet. She just hadn't checked the emails or gotten the email or whatever the story was. And so she sent us to her other house, where she was like, oh, we have like a basement suite for you to stay in. Luckily it's already made.
we just took it.
So now we're staying in this weird like, oh my god, I can't tie my shoe. Now we're staying in this weird basement apartment, very far away from everything. And yeah, this was their like substitute, I guess. So yay, Winnipeg! I've been to Winnipeg before, and I remember actually quite liking Winnipeg, and so I really wanted to take Nick out, and we went to the Forks.
Forks.
The Forks Market in Winnipeg.
Forks Market in Winnipeg. Forks Market in Winnipeg.
If you don't know what the Forks is, it's like a market in Winnipeg, and it's indoors, so you can you don't have to brave the cold. And yeah, there's just like really great food and little local shops in there. Winnipeg just has this like interesting, really like artsy, there's lots of cool cafes, lots of really cool places to like go out and get a beverage. I don't know, I personally really like Winnipeg. It gets very cold there, and I'm not sure if everyone has the same opinion, but yeah, I really like it there. So shout out to Winnipeg.
The next day, after we woke up in our weird accommodation, just like in Regina, we had to trek all of our stuff in. So we had to trek all of our stuff out, and we wanted to kind of leave fairly early in the morning because there was just weird vibes to that place. So at like 5 a.m. we got up and started trekking everything up the stairs and out into the car.
Canada at this time of the year, surprise, is very, very, very cold. Like it was -20 in Regina, even at the beginning of November, and
it's like -13 in Winnipeg.
yeah, it was like -13. So I mean, I had some after the engagement party and stuff. I had some champagne bottles, and like we had a whole bunch of beer and whatever. But like things were in different places, so we didn't want anything to freeze or explode or get damaged or get stolen. So every night, just to be safe, we took everything inside. So yeah, we left early from Winnipeg, and we went to Thunder Bay next. I surely thought that there would be a Tim Hortons off the highway, and now we're going on an hour with no Tim Hortons. Looks like we're gonna have to be driving for another hour before we get to a Tim Hortons. We've had no coffee this morning, and as you know, what's happening here? And as you know, this trip is fueled by Tim Hortons.
Shout out to Tim Hortons.
Shout out to Tim Hortons.
Tim Hortons.
Sponsor us, Tim Hortons.
.ca/notlux.
We're going crazy. I can't believe there's not been a single Tim Hortons.
Yeah.
Welcome to Ontario, in the land of Ontario. Oh my god, yes! Once you get to Ontario, you're like so excited to be in Ontario, but Ontario is huge. It's a good 2 days to drive down to the Toronto area. So luckily we were fair warned and we didn't get too excited when we saw the Welcome to Ontario sign. Yeah, we stayed in Thunder Bay for the evening, and Thunder Bay is somewhere else that I actually really like. Did you like it?
I loved it, yeah. Once you leave Winnipeg, well, I mean, obviously from pretty much Alberta to the end of Winnipeg, it's just flat and like fairly straight roads. It's kind of hard to drive the whole way. But pretty much at the border of Winnipeg to Ontario, you start hitting like trees and it gets a little bit more hilly. So it's a little bit nicer kind of once you get in there. And then you start hitting lakes, and it's a lot more scenic once you actually hit Ontario, which is nice.
For sure, like every province and territory in Canada has their own type of beauty. So like a lot of people say, you know, like driving through the prairies, like it's so flat, like oh whatever, it's gonna be so boring. I mean, like in my opinion, I actually really like the prairies. I think that they're really beautiful in their own way. But certainly in the winter it doesn't have that same kind of like orange glow that it does in the summertime.
Just snowdrifts.
It's just like
some cows, some fluffy cows every once in a while.
the fluffy cows are cute though. They're really cute. Before we went there, I actually messaged a family friend, and she has lived in Thunder Bay for years, but I was like, hey, like we're driving through, it'd be really nice to see you. She was telling us to be extra careful because there was a whole bunch of accidents with moose in the past 7 weeks. 7 people hit moose. So we didn't want to be the 8th, and yeah, it's such a shame, obviously, that happened. So we definitely wanted to get to Thunder Bay before it got too dark.
To anybody listening to this that isn't Canadian, we're not making this up.
Yeah, no, this is true.
There's literally moose, and people cream them all the time.
And
so.
it's sad, like it's really serious.
Yeah,
if
no,
you
it
don't
is.
know, like if you don't know about moose, you could, yeah, seriously get injured or potentially die.
Yeah.
Probably die if you hit a moose.
They're big.
Yeah, they're very big. And this isn't a joke either, but we saw a guy skinning a deer in the motel parking lot. We were like driving up, I was like, what the f***? Like, what are those legs? I thought someone was like changing like his dog's like.
Changing a dog's
I
diaper.
thought he was just skinning a deer in the middle of the parking lot. I was not
Yeah,
like
like right where you pull in. Like it was like
Really
dark, and right where you have to like turn into the parking lot. He was just parked in the middle, gutting a deer.
It was really uncomfortable. So, oh yeah, and then in Thunder Bay we went to that funny little bar when all those drunk old men were talking to us.
So we went and saw another hockey game. For those of you who don't know, I'm really into hockey. So
That's not a joke either.
yeah, Canadian and I love hockey, and this is a toque as well, by the way.
2 toques.
2 toques. So yeah, we went to a bar in Thunder Bay, watched a hockey game, and watched a bunch of old drunk men get kicked out one by one. So
It
that
was drama.
Yeah.
It was like really big drama in there.
Yeah.
This is behind the scenes of what we're actually dealing with. So that's all our stuff over there that we take in every night from the car because we don't want our car to get broken into. And Nick watching hockey on my old laptop.
My laptop.
Your new laptop. My nails done, so now we can announce we're getting married. Oh, you can't see it. It's true. Nick proposed, and I said, nope.
Nope, but I'll take the ring anyway.
In the morning from Thunder Bay, we left and we went to Sault Ste. Marie.
Another really cool place that I could see myself living, Sault Ste. Marie. Just anywhere around the Great Lakes is awesome.
We decided to be fancy tonight and book an actual hotel room that has a pool and a jacuzzi because it's our last night.
Sault Ste. Marie, Sault Ste. Marie, you've been sweet to me, and I love you dearly.
It's just nice up there. I mean, we got really good burgers in Sault Ste. Marie.
Oh yeah, what was that place called?
It was called the Beyond Meat Burger with stack sauce. Another snack.
Can go wherever we
Home,
want, whenever.
sweet
Now we're going to this party.
home.
Yo, that ain't a...
What day is it?
I think.
And this is the last place where we're packing up our car. We use the shoe as an ice scraper today because we don't have one yet. Looking nice. And we should arrive in Cambridge by tonight. As long as the conditions are okay. So I was actually just editing this video and I realized that I lost the entire part of us speaking about the end of this. So we're gonna try to recap the best that we can. To be honest, there actually wasn't a lot left at the end of this video anyway, because we just booked it all the way from Sault Ste. Marie to the Kitchener-Waterloo area in southern Ontario. We're just living in Ontario and trying to find work, and this was my second time seeing Canada. I think that you had only been to like BC and Alberta before, right?
Yeah, I went to Ontario when I was a little kid.
Right, and you came with me.
Oh yeah, we went to Ontario together once. That was where I got my first tattoo here.
But we didn't drive. So the next couple of videos are gonna be kind of just about us like exploring our new area. I'm gonna do a couple videos on my online teaching and how I've been able to work remote and why I didn't have to quit my job this entire time. But yeah, we also want to give a special shout out to the podcast. It's called Secret Life of Canada. They don't know that we're saying this, but we actually listened to this podcast the entire time that we were traveling, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we learned a lot about the Indigenous history of Canada and a lot of the stuff that went on. The whole premise of the podcast is like the history that you don't learn in school. Yeah, it was pretty eye-opening and a really great podcast to listen to when we were seeing the country that we are so grateful to be living in. So yes, thank you for watching and we will see you in the next video.